Hello, ladies and gentlemen, it's Mike here at Game From Scratch, and today we are looking at a new Humble Bundle of interest to game developers, specifically for people looking for music for your games, because that's exactly what this one is. It is called the Big Royalty-Free Music Bundle, and it's a collection of royalty-free music. Now, we're going to look at exactly what you get. As with all of these Humble Bundles, I always buy them, let you know what the contents are, and then in this particular case, we're actually going to look at what the licensing behind them is, because the devil is always in that detail, especially when it comes to music. But if you are not a musically inclined soul, it could be that sourcing your royalty-free music from somewhere else is a good fit for your game, or even if you're just developing your game and you want some stand-in stuff, having some themed music may be a good fit for you. So if you don't know how Humble Bundle works, basically it's collection of stuff, in this case songs that are royalty free and game ready, around a common theme, and you decide how your money is allocated between charity, Humble, the publisher, and if you choose to do so, and thanks so much if you do, to support Game From Scratch. It's broken into tiers. You buy a tier, you get all the dollar value tiers below that tier. The first tier we've got here is the $1 tier, and in that tier we get Dark Skies and Other Disasters, Haunted, The Vanishing of Elizabeth Rose, Chronicles of the Illusion World, and Archive Volume 1, The Dark Side. Now, each one of these is basically just an album name. So, for example, Haunted, come in here, you can click it. You've got a YouTube sample, so you can actually hear parts of what the sound sounds like. But what you're finding is each one of these is around a theme. You can generally guess it by the title graphic or the name. So you see here, 21 royalty-free horror and dark ambient tracks for horror games and dark projects. And then you got details of who the composers are and what you get inside of it. So you're getting Wave Plus, MP3 Plus premium licenses. We'll get to the licenses in just a bit. So at the next tier up, $18.18. Ooh, nice synergy there. Canadian, or also probably $15 US. We're looking at Chuck Kickass, Shadow Guilds, The Monster That Lies Within, Cult, Mindhunter, Forever and a Day, Archive Volume 2, The Love, and Imagine. Now, once again, any one of these, you want to get an idea of what kind of themes you're looking at. So here you're seeing action, retro movie feel for action, FPS sci-fi projects. You can get a detail. You come in here and you actually listen to a sampling. Now, YouTube algorithms are a little weird about music, so I'm going to be a little limited to the amount that I want to sample here. But if you want to check out what the individual soundtracks sound like, there are samples for all of them, as you can see. Just drill down into it. Then we get into the final tier, $32.69 Canadian. I believe that would be called $25 USD. Here you're getting Chaos Logic, Chaos, The Butterfly Effect, The 29th Planet, Black Sails, Dark Ventures, Jotun, Pandemonium, Once Upon a Nightmare, Witchcraft Slasher, The Lab, Superheroes, Pixel, Faster, Stronger, Harder, and then finally Dreamimagination. So each one of these has, you know, a few dozen, or about a dozen tracks, probably is about the average that you're seeing here. Some have more, some have a little bit less, but you're seeing a number of different, basically, quote-unquote, albums around a number of different themes composed of a bunch of different music. Now, as I mentioned earlier on, I always buy these things to let you know what you're going to get. Today is no exception. So here you can see it's a collection of, I believe they're zip files, and you want to go ahead and download them. One of the nice things about Humble Bundle, my internet's a little slow today, but even then, from Humble servers, everything comes down pretty fast. So here you can see it's a zip file, and any slowness you're seeing, unfortunately, that's my internet today, not them. But you can go back, you can download things as many times as you want, so you can basically use Humble as your remote server in this case. And then once you have one of these things downloaded, you will see it comes out, it opens up. So here is Slasher, and when you open up Dark Studio Slasher, Slasher Audio, Dark Studio Slasher, you'll see here you get a number of WAV files, like so. WAV files are basically uncompressed, and then you get the cover albums. So these are uncompressed. Generally, the trade-off between WAV or MP3 comes down to size on disk versus CPU usage. So you also get over here, you get MP3s of all of the different sounds you could want to hear. Of course, you get the sound. You can cut them down. So the nice thing here is if you are using WAV, for example, you can go into something like Audacity and just cut down to the particular little, this is one of the nice things about raw audio, is you can grab just the bit you want, cut it down to just that area, and so on. So you can take and mix and match out the little pieces you want. Obviously, you could come in here and modify the soundtracks, switch it down to mono or whatever else you want with. But that's one of the nice things about working with raw waveforms as well. And then we get into here. This is where the licenses are. So here is the license for Ruined, for example. And a premium license is non-exclusive. That means you're not the only person that can use it. One track equals one license equals one project. Premium license allows you for commercial or non-commercial distribution without limitation, for streaming. So you can use them on YouTube, Vimeo, Dailymotion. Now, do be careful. Doesn't mean, even though you have a license, doesn't mean that you can't run into some idiocy on YouTube. Now, the nice thing is you have this license in your hand, so if you do get struck or whatever, you can come back and say, listen, I have a license here, so piss off, and it may work for you. You can use it sites in social media, podcast, web apps, business videos, video presentation, communication, professional video games. So professional, I think they should have probably used the word commercial, but you get the idea. You do have some limitations. You'll not be able to claim ownership of the track, cannot redistribute the track as music. Basically, you cannot create compilation of the tracks. You cannot redistribute the track modified or not. You can not edit the purchased track and distribute it in CD format. So basically, you can only kind of use it in a derived work. You can't sell it as the track that it is. But do be sure to check the full license. I'll make sure that all of this is up on screen long enough so that you can actually see what the license is. And this is one particular one. There's going to obviously be different licenses for all of them. I've checked a few of them, and they all seem to be pretty much Templar boilerplate or whatever. But that is the licensing that all of this music is under. So it's definitely one of those things to be aware of. Make sure that this license is amendable to you. It seems pretty reasonable to me. I don't see any major catches there. This one is a little confusing, especially because you can do it without limitation. So I don't think you should be hung up on that one. But I am not a lawyer. You read the license yourself. You can decide how to use it. But I don't see any real major flags there. So it's a collection of music. Pretty straightforward Humble Bundle on the whole. We don't get this kind of stuff too often. I think we've had one or two other music track things like dedicated to music, and a few others Humbles that have had little bits of music in them, but none of these tracks, as far as I know. None of this is a repeat or anything else like that. So this is what's the name once again? The Big Royalty-Free Music Bundle, a collection of tracks in a game-ready format with a game-ready license. Basically, if you saw from the description, almost all of this stuff, you can see they're very, very specifically mentioning games in all of this. This is very game-focused developments here. Now, another really interesting thing, this one isn't really specific to this guy here, but there was also a new bundle that dropped today that some of you may be interested in. Completely unrelated to game development. I just found it interesting. There is a Cyberpunk bundle as well. I'm going to be picking this one up later today because I just have a thing for collecting source books. And there's a ton of them. And, Cyberpunk 2077 on the horizon. If you're interested in some of the lore, this bundle just started today as well. So there's a Cyberpunk bundle over there. But again, let's get back to what we were talking about. That is the music bundle here. Again, collection of things in both MP3 and WAV formats with a game-friendly license. So let me know what you thought, and talk to you all later. Goodbye.